Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is the
Dr. Doreen is an expert in autism. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet.
Dr. Doreen Grand-Pichet is a visionary in the field of autism. Now you can ask her questions on Ask Dr. Doreen.
Love Life says, do you recommend taking a break from therapy? My son has been in therapies for many years. We are taking a break from OT because he seems to be frustrated lately. I don't want to take a break from ABA or speech, but what are your feelings on that?
I mean, I don't know that I would take a break, but if you feel like he is not enjoying it, then there's a problem there. So I would probably have a conversation with the therapist or with the organization and tell them that you're on the verge of taking a break because he really seems only frustrated. So this goes back to the thing we were talking about, Shannon, which is like therapy doesn't only need to be fair, it needs to be fun, like, or rewarding, because honestly, why else? Like, why is the child doing 4 or 5 hours of extra work? It's like anything else, right? It has to be rewarding. And so if it's not, we got to change something about therapy. The child should not be frustrated. A lot of stuff that could be changed. Here are some ideas. First of all, a lot of times my kids get frustrated if the repetition is too easy. So they've passed a certain point. So this is ABA. Let me just back up a second. With ABA, a lot of times you want to set what's called mastery criteria. And mastery criteria, it's kind of like, I want to make sure this child can do this particular task at 90% every single time I do it. So they're correct 90% of the time. That mastery criteria might cause frustration for some kids because they're ready to move on. And if that's the case, the therapist or the BCBA in charge needs to kind of figure that out and put in some stuff that's a little bit more challenging, maybe lower the mastery criteria to 80% and go fast and then come back and do maintenance criteria. So like, you check out, you move on to the next lesson at 80 when this one hits 80%, but you're going to check back on this one and make sure you didn't forget it, that kind of thing. But that's one thing. The other thing is sometimes our kids just get kind of, they tune out or they get frustrated because the mode of presentation is not their strongest mode. So like, I always want to check and make sure the child is, like, I'm presenting things either visually when it's a very strong visual child, or I'm presenting them in a quiet environment when my child is very easily distractible by sounds. Those types of, so it's the teaching style and sensory input has to be correct. Another thing is like the difficulty level. It might just be too difficult. Let's go back and give him prerequisites that he's missing, because those are the things that would make this possible. Another thing is the frustration happening only with one therapist? Sometimes it's just one therapist who's not that good, or has had some interaction with your child where the child doesn't want to get along with this person. And then, of course, the overarching and most important one is there enough reinforcement? And the whole thing with reinforcers is the task level and the reinforcer level. There's a balance that goes on all the time. So when it's a new task, there's got to be, you start with very small difficulty level because it's new. So the demand level is low and the reinforcer level has to be huge. So it's a very small request and a big reward. And this gradually shifts, right? So as the child masters this particular task, the reward level can go down, but now we're going to introduce a new task, which means the reward level goes up again. And so that has to be a constant thing going on, and so it's something about the ABA. I wouldn't discontinue. I would just go back in and talk to people and make sure that they increase the reward level. And sometimes they can also just throw in activities that are more fun. Like one of my kids that I have right now, he is very tired in the afternoon. He just can't focus. So right after lunch, every single day, I have an hour of OT scheduled for him, which really kind of wakes him up, which is mostly on his trampoline and a lot of physical activity getting him up. And then in the afternoons, I have mostly like either adaptive behaviors at home or things like hippotherapy and active things, because that's the way that I need to do it for him. Every child is different, and you kind of have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, and they went on to say that I feel like the OT doesn't really understand how to handle behaviors. That's not their expertise. He is fine in ABA, and since OT is only 30 minutes, I feel like the therapist just wants to get things done. Definitely not high enough reinforcement. And when my son first was diagnosed and school gave us OT, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to hear about it. But we had an OT who was just terrible. Just horrible, who really didn't get it. And it was an epic waste of our time. And so that was my judgment of all OT. I was like, it's just an epic waste of time. Yeah. Then I met some OTs who are brilliant. Yeah. And it's an entirely different thing. I feel like there are other people that judge ABA the opposite, right? That they're with somebody who's not really doing good ABA and they go, oh, ABA is just a waste of time. Whereas I had ABA therapists that blew my mind on a daily basis and had my kids so excited and learning. So, yes. I think that when it's 30 minutes, because that's what it's been legislated, and the person is not good and it's dragging your child down, I feel like you got a choice. Either go in there and fight and get somebody else and say, I want a different OT, or this OT has to step it up. Yes. Or when it's 30 minutes, I think, find something better to do with your time.
Yeah. And I apologize because I missed that part that he's fine in ABA, but it's the OT. Change your OT.
Yeah.
OT is not there should be no frustration during OT. OT is more fun and actually self-regulating, and most of our kids enjoy it, and it helps them kind of wake up and pay attention and so on.
Yeah. If you found anything helpful in this video, please give us a like. In fact, make sure that you smash that subscribe button on YouTube and give us a like on Facebook. You can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram for important updates. And please download our free podcast wherever you get your podcasts. See you next time. Until then, give your kiddos a hug from me and one for you too. Bye-bye for now.
To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.
Don't forget, you can watch Ask Dr. Doreen live every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time on autism-network.com. We hope to see you there.